You know, the Persians are great negotiators. When John Kerry went in, I'll tell you, I saw on Charlie Rose, I was watching Charlie Rose was talking to this guy, the head negotiator for Iran. And after watching for 5 minutes, I said, no, Kerry can't handle this guy. The guy's too smart, too shrewd, too slick, too cunning, too smart. But I have guys that are much smarter than him, including me, by the way, but that's okay. No. I have guys that are much better than him. But the saddest part of that deal is so much of this money is already gone. Just gone. $150 billion right out the tubes. And what do we get? We got nothing. We got nothing. They got the money, and the prisoners should have been released years ago before we started negotiating. Years ago. We got nothing. And you know, I used to say that was a great deal, but it's not a great deal. The great deal is they got Iraq for nothing, because they've been fighting forever to get Iraq. And now they have, you know, Iraq has among the greatest oil reserves in the world, which a lot of people don't even know. Great quality oil, too. But among the greatest oil reserves in the world. Iran has that. We gave it to them. For years, decades and decades, they fight. And they had the same army, the same strength. Basically, they're almost identical. And they go 10 feet left, 10 feet right, 10 feet left. Thousands killed. Horrible. Saddam Hussein, gas, right? Remember the gas? People would be killed. And they'd complain. Then they'd throw gas at him, bomb. Then they'd rest. Then they'd start fighting a couple of years later. But they were the same. Nobody would move. It would be like this. It was called checks. Check and balance. Takes years, takes centuries to create that, right? We go in and destroy one side. And I said, I was against it. You know, everyone says Donald Trump will be too quick with the trigger. I'm the one that didn't want to do it. I want to build our military so strong, so powerful, that we never have to use it, I hope. Nobody's going to mess with us. It's so sad. It is so sad to see. I'm telling you, it's amateur hour. So then today I find out, and Hillary Clinton's a disaster, by the way. She is so incompetent. She is so incompetent. You look at what's happening. Take a look at Libya. You know who has Libya oil now? Tell me who has Libya oil. ISIS. ISIS has Libya oil. That was Hillary Clinton. Let's knock the hell out of this guy. So you have Gaddafi. Let's knock Gaddafi out. Now, Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein had one thing in common. They loved to kill terrorists. They were so good at it. They were as good as you could get at killing terrorists. Now the terrorists go to Iraq where they want to, it's like Harvard. If you want to be a terrorist, you go to Iraq. That's Harvard. Harvard University. You go to Iraq and you become a terrorist. You go to Libya. You go to these countries that we've destroyed. So look, Hillary did this whole thing. Remember the sign, remember the ambassador and the Humvee riding into town with the flag and waving the flag? And then the people killed him a little while later, right? They killed him and other people, 4 people, and they killed the ambassador viciously. Nobody wants to say how the ambassador was killed. Viciously. And he's on their side. And that was Benghazi, okay? And remember Hillary with the phony phone call? When you get a call at 3 in the morning, don't you want her? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. She was sleeping. She only answers her friends at 3 in the morning, you know. So it's sad. I mean, the whole thing is so crazy. But I will do a great job. Now, so what happens is I'm on this big show about a week and a half ago, and I get asked about NATO. And the announcer, very good man, I mean, Wolf Blitzer, very good man. And he said, Mr. Trump, what do you think about NATO? Now, just so you understand, I'm not a big NATO expert. I've been building buildings and doing deals all my life. You know, that's what I made over $10 billion doing this stuff. And I built a great company. And I filed a company. I put the company in with the federal elections. And the press, these guys, they went just absolutely crazy because they were hoping, you know, I'm a private guy, so they didn't know. And it turned out to be much bigger, much stronger. I mean, it's a company with some of the greatest assets in the world. Some of the greatest. I mean, Doral, Turnberry in Scotland. I own things that are phenomenal. Buildings in Manhattan. Great stuff. I mean, the largest bank in the world is a tenant of mine in one of my buildings in Manhattan. And that bank happens to come from China. They have 400 million customers, okay? I said to the chairman, I said, so when we signed the lease, I said, so how do you compare, let's say, in size to Citibank? He said, Citibank is like a small subsidiary. It's just a little bank. It's like, forget it. This is a monster bank. And, and by the way, China, they're great. Mexico, great. All of these countries are great. I'm not angry at them. I'm angry that our leaders are so stupid that these countries can take advantage of us. I'm not angry at those countries. I mean, I made a tremendous amount of money dealing with China. And as far as Hispanics are concerned, I won the state of Nevada. I won, I think, 21 or 22 states. Can you imagine that? 22, can you imagine? And how about Cruz? Did you see him? He got up during one of the debates. I'm the only one that's beaten Donald Trump. I won, I think it was 5 at that time, 5 or 6. I won 5 states. I beat Donald Trump. I'm the only one. And then I said, yeah, but I won 22. And he goes, he didn't even answer. You remember that? His expression. Do you remember his expression? I was in the Senate, because actually I've been in the Senate from the very beginning, right? There has never been a debate where I haven't been in the Senate. Senate is number one. I keep telling the press, will you announce that I'm number one? Because a lot of people don't know that. When you're in the center, that means you're number one. When some of these guys like Rand and Jeb, they were falling off the edges, I'd say, by next week, you guys are going to be gone. But I was always in the center. So he was over here, and he was talking about, I'm the only one, the only one. I said, yeah, but and that turned out to be a very famous internet picture. He didn't even argue with me. He just looked at me like this. Do you remember? It was the weirdest thing. He's a weird guy, I'm telling you. He is a weird guy, and he would get absolutely defeated. I haven't even started on Hillary yet. I don't care about Hillary right now. I only care about the two. I only care about the two leftovers. Look, I started at 17. We had 17 people, all senators and this. Ben Carson, great guy, very accomplished guy, who, by the way, endorsed me, and he's phenomenal. He's in North Dakota right now making a speech for us. And Chris Christie, who endorsed me, great guy. And Sarah Palin, who just left, she was here. Sarah Palin. She just made 2 speeches. She was at the other 2 places. I said, look, this group is so great, you don't have to bother with them, Sarah. Go home. Go home. See? See what I do? That's called taking advantage of people that I know love me. But that's okay. I said, go home, Sarah. But we have some great Sheriff Joe of Arizona. What? I got to tell you a story about life, about toughness. Like the Green Bay Packers, great. Vince Lombardi, I've always been a big fan. I've always been. He was being interviewed this morning on CNN. He was so bad. He was talking about the abortion issue. He was so bad. And I said, if I ever said that, it would be headlines all over the world. It was incredible. And I said, okay, I just asked, it's like 7 hours later. I said, did they write anything? No, nobody writes anything. Nobody writes. You think it's a double? He likes the word leftover. That's an interesting name, isn't it? The two leftovers. But you know what? If I said it, it would be a whole different story. So it's not a fair thing, but at the same time, I guess you can't complain because we're getting a lot of coverage. They said I got almost $2 billion worth of free coverage, right? And the other guys got a lot less. You know, so I've spent $35 to $40 million of my own money. Now, if I advertised like these other guys do, I would have spent a lot more. So I can't complain that much. Do we agree? We shouldn't complain. But I'll tell you, we're going to make this country so incredible. There are so many things we can do. So let me just tell you what happened. Trade, you all trust me. Believe me, China is going to have a trade. We're going to have a trade deficit with China this year. $500 billion. Then somebody, these stupid people, you know, I'm a conservative, but I'm a common sense conservative. You know, Walker copied my term. He said he's a common sense conservative. I've been using this term for the last. He also copied Make America Great Again. When he was running, I made a speech and got this fantastic standing ovation from a big crowd. He saw it. And I said, Make America Great Again. But see, I copyrighted the name, so it's very important. And it isn't Ronald Reagan actually had a similar thing. He said, let's make America great. That was his term. Because people said, oh, Ronald Reagan. You know, I don't really copy, but it's like make America great again. So Walker